Here we have the SkyHawk V2 working canopy. Let's get inside. Alright, so it's got a full cockpit interior. Just gonna reset that. So I got a heads-up display, a bunch of switches which are very fun to flick. Little buttons. Got fire weapon countermeasures. This is a partially unweaponized system. It does have a minigun, but that's about it. In fact, that is it. Currently, my plans are to add some rockets and missiles and stuff on the wings, but right now this is just a test. So anyway, we got throttle here on the left, and some levers up here. These are also throttle switches, they're linked. 0, brake, and max throttle, so yeah, you can go and see that. And then brake will ideally deploy the air brakes, but I guess it doesn't. Interesting. Should. I don't know where. Oh, they're back there. That's why. So, brake. There it goes. Alright. Anyway, the real fun thing about this is if we step back outside and I turn on Action Group 2, we got little doors that open. Look at that. And we have some engines underneath it here. We're looking up inside the belly. And there they are up top. And this plane is capable of vertical takeoff. So, if I go onto here, start to throttle up, these engines will spool on, coming out there on the bottom. Once you get to a certain thrust, it will take off. It's super cool. I love this. This is awesome. Next up, so once you're in the air, probably close that, that'd be a good idea. Once you're in the air, bring up the landing, turn on the main engines. Then you can turn off it's very loud. Turn off those hover engines. I'm actually going to throw them down. And let's get back inside. Alright, so as you can see, I got the heads-up display here. And turn off the gyroscopes, that way I can fly around a little bit easier. Gyroscopes are required for takeoff and landing, but they kind of make things a little bit more difficult while in the air. So, you see I got various dials and stuff here. This is my angle of attack. Should I turn the gyroscope on? Hovering engines. There we go. So I got an angle of attack, vertical speed, altitude, airspeed, throttle, fuel, trim. So when I go and move that, that's trim there. Adjust that just a bit. VTOL angle, so that's those vertical takeoff engines are linked to this VTOL angle. So I can tell about when it's... Oh no, don't do that. Give me more. Let's see, we got roll angle. I don't know what this switch does. I think it's just kind of nonsense at this point. I might get rid of that and replace it with something more useful. And of course we got all these other switches. Oh yeah, compass, and then this is kind of redundant now that I put this in. The heads-up display was a pretty last-minute thing. I'd done that recently. Because before it was all just analog dials like this, but I replaced it when I added the VTOL engines because it's very useful to see your little prograde marker here. So you can go and line it up with a runway, perhaps. It's more useful on like a carrier when you want to line up to the carrier accurately. But I'm just watching where my prograde marker comes down, and that is and where the prograde marker comes down is where you will roughly land. Ouch, rough landing. Not too bad. I'm still getting used to this plane. This is not my first time in it in VR, but like I've got about 15-20 minutes of practice with this, and that's about it. Anyway, So this switch is VTOL engines, and you can see that that flap comes down and covers it. So open it up, and you can kind of see into the back there a little. Like, I can also just go and drag myself back here. I learned that you can do that, which is fun. So yeah, it's a little crowded back here. You got a gyroscope there, and then our two VTOL engines up here. I love that I'm still technically in the cockpit, but it's fine. And then these are the main engines here. And all in all, this plane is fairly small. Like, I'm pretty much standing right now. Like, I would be standing height. So it's a small plane. And very fast for what it is. Let's get back in. Yeah, the top speed of this thing is pretty quick. So, other things. Yeah, I'll show you the trying to take off without the gyroscopes on. You're not going to last long. Yep, immediately. You immediately tip over just because it's not perfectly balanced, and you don't have control otherwise. So, if I turn those off, I'm going to start going out and not going to last very long. However, if you also turn on the engines and get some air over the wings, then you don't really need the gyroscope, because it also just kind of gets in the way of when you're flying around normally. Shut those down. And oh yeah, one more thing. I absolutely love the double door opening on the bottom. So you have two doors that open and one large flap, kind of like the I think it's the F-35 up top. I'm not entirely sure what its bottom door opens up like. It's probably something like this. That makes sense. And the reason that I needed to do two is for landing gear clearance reasons. You can see it even comes pretty close to hitting the gear now. So I couldn't do one large flap. My initial plan was to have a piston that pulled it along, but I feel like the doors also look cooler, and it would also make some more sense. Anyway, that is the SkyHawk V2. I do have another. I actually have a couple versions of the SkyHawk. The first one was a propeller VTOL, kind of like an Osprey in a way, a small Osprey. And then another one is a stretched version, and it is, I think it's supersonic. This one, what's the max speed of this one? I'm not entirely sure. Let's do a quick speed test. Gear it up. Gyroscope's off. I do need to fix the balance a little bit on this. It's a little nose heavy. Anyway, so I'm watching this number up here. Oh, actually, Mach. So it is definitely supersonic. Supersonic is a Mach 1. This is probably Mach 1.35, and it's pretty maneuverable. Like I'm pulling 19 Gs. I wish it was more maneuverable at slow speeds, though. That's one thing that I need to work on with this. So if I hit the brakes, now you see my Mach numbers going down. Gyroscope is also better for slow speeds, when you don't have as much control. Looks like right now we're about 500 miles an hour. So, yeah, as you can see, it's just kind of like wiggly, not great. Around, like Mach 0.3 is kind of when it's just not maneuverable, and you almost need gyroscopes, but at that point it just gets so wiggly, it's hard to control. So I need to work on the low speed range, but it's a pretty good high speed. Okay, come on, fix yourself. Yeah, and also, I don't think I'm getting a whole lot of lift right now at Mach 3, or 0.3. So, anyway, go to hovering engines, and I will attempt to land. That doesn't do anything right now. Give me this. Actually. Yeah, so right now, I've got my hovering engines on, doing a lot of the lift, but I'm still able to control because I'm moving fast. Oh, I'm out of fuel. That would be why I'm not hearing engines. Yeah, that's an issue. Another limited thing about this is fuel capacity. I really need to improve that. But as you can see, I appear to have encountered an issue. And that issue being a hill. Oh, hey, look at that. Ooh, where'd it go? Yeah, it's still there. Look at that. So the pilot would have survived, which is good to know. Definitely would have survived, absolutely. No question about it. Anyway, that is the SkyHawk V2, more like V2.1, because I gotta do some modifications to it. Anyway, thanks for watching. See ya.